the one thing I've heard from some folks with MS is, MS has given me the opportunity to make changes in my life. It's sort of forced me to make those changes in life that I needed to make.
I'm glad you said that word first.
Right. So it wasn't as if they would wish MS on anyone, but at the
Hmm.
same time, they say this was a blessing in disguise.
I called it that too. It was a blessing in disguise. And for that very reason, what you just said, it forces you to change things and do things. But at the end of the day, it's for your own good. It's for your own good at the end of the day. That's the beautiful part.
Well, and it's not just the eating, right? It's realizing everything. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday with Delaney. We were sitting there. I had talked to her because she had just done a MS event that she was a speaker at, and she said it's very humbling because you start to realize I can't keep up with my friends.
My name is William Stewart. I'm the MS ambassador for the MS Society. Today I'm talking to Casey Murphy. Casey Murphy is a volunteer for the MS Society as well as I am. He doesn't have multiple sclerosis, but he advocates and he rides Bike MS. He's been riding Bike MS for over 35 years. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, started in
35 years at 30.
1995.
Wow, that's a lot of riding. So tell me about first, can you introduce yourself and can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So as you alluded to, so I do not have MS, but I started riding in 1995 uh, as a way to get into more sports activities. I grew up in Colorado. I was a native snow skier, got into a bad ski accident, so I needed to find a new sport. Got into cycling, and a couple of years into it, wanted a challenge, found the MS 150 out in Colorado, tried that out, and fell in love with it. And I think it was my third year riding. I had a friend of mine from high school who had reached out to me and said, I have MS. And she told me her story, went to one of her support
Yeah,
groups, and it all started from there.
yeah, yeah.
And so we just continue to do it, and now here we are, 30 plus years later,
That is terrific.
and we're still
That is
continuing to do it.
terrific, man. I love it. I love it. Okay, now tell us about because you raised a lot for the foundation. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I would say, I've lost count. I don't really keep count of the amount. We just try to raise as much as we can because to me, it's not about how much I'm raising. It is, but it's more about the fact of what are we doing for the individuals that are
Mhm.
suffering from MS
I
and
knew
the
you were gonna say
research. And
that.
so, if I had estimated somewhere around $135,000 over that
That is
time frame,
terrific. Yeah, that is
last couple of
terrific.
years, we've raised annually around $10,000 each year. The last couple of years, putting us in the top 1% in the Southeast region because I'm now in Florida.
Yeah, yeah. So I got a video of you getting your hair bald in a barbershop. So what was that about? How did you get with that?
So that was a bet. And I had asked folks that if I can get to a certain level, if they did it within a short period of time, that I would shave my head. And of course, the people met that goal. And so I went and got my head shaved and I recorded so that way people could see that it was really true and it wasn't a filter, right? This is all before all the Instagram filters where I could make it look like I was bald, but not really. So they got
Oh,
to see it
wow.
actually being done.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. That's cool. That's so cool. I love it. Okay, you know what? I want to open this up. Let's open up the other side of MS. What is the other side of MS and when did it get created?
So the other side of MS is a podcast similar to yours, though ours is audio only. It started about 3 years ago, and it really started as a project to help educate individuals on what is MS. And it's because I had someone who I was writing with who had no idea why they were raising funds for the MS Society or really what the MS was about. So it started out as an educational piece to hopefully get people who were writing in the event to understand what is MS. But then it transformed into or elevated into telling stories or allowing those who suffer from MS to share their stories.
Yeah.
We had, I think it was our first guest of season two, Jessica Nevins,
Mhm.
and she was on the team I was on that year, and she opened up in a way that I could never imagine, and I realized this isn't just about education; it's about giving a space where people can actually tell the raw stories, and that's
Yeah.
hence the other side of MS. It's not the polished, pamphlets that you're going to see sitting inside stores. It's not going to be the stories you see on television. It's
And then
going to be,
it's,
these are
it's
the
it's
tough
not
stories.
hard. It's not easy to tell those stories either.
No,
It's
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 not.
it's very hard to be vulnerable. It is.
It is. I found that a lot of folks with MS, and I'm sure it's with many other chronic diseases, they don't want to feel like they're a burden. And so many times they hide behind the MS because it's a lot easier than sitting there and having to explain, especially MS because it's so difficult to understand that they're either going to face one
Impossible.
of two things. Either people aren't going to believe them and say, well, you don't look sick. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I saw you running and now today you're
Yeah.
saying you can't even
Yeah.
move. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So people
Yeah.
don't believe them, or it's just so much that it's emotionally taxing and it's just easier not to say anything.
That right there is the worst thing for someone to not believe you, and you got the paperwork from the doctor, and you have all the symptoms, and you tell someone, and they don't believe you. That has to be like just the worst debilitating thing. It has to be.
Yeah, well, you don't even need the paper. You're living it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this, Casey. Do you know anyone personally that have multiple sclerosis?
I do. I know quite a few people, and again on the podcast, I've interviewed over 100 individuals with MS, and I've become close friends with several of them.
Yeah, good.
Kim Ima Schaefer out of Colorado. She's the one that I started writing for. She's my high school friend.
Mhm.
And then I've met several other ones, some through what's called the Tour Champions. Those are individuals that have raised over $10,000 or more.
Yeah.
We get together once a year and meet. Karen out of Georgia is a very close friend of mine. We've got Bruce Reed with the Big Bananas. No, he does not have MS. He's another high top fundraiser. Um, but I would say Karen and Kim are probably the two biggest advocates of those individuals that I know with MS. We've also got Delaney. She's on our podcast. She's an incredible story. So she was an individual who was diagnosed at 10 and with optic neuritis. And she's now in I think it's her third or fourth year as a PhD candidate at the Mayo Clinic, studying to be an MS scientist.
Really?
Yes.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That right there is one beautiful story I know about multiple sclerosis. That no one ever has died from multiple sclerosis.
No.
Someone might die from the complications. You might die from falling down the stairs, or you might die from something like that. But no one has ever just died like, oh, he had multiple sclerosis, he just died. That's I never heard of that case. I never heard
No.
of that. So that right there is the good news. You always got to be you always got to be you got to be optimistic. You got to find the bright side of things.
Yes, you do. And I found a lot of individuals that we've interviewed with MS. And the sad part is many of them wear capes, they just can't see it. Only those of us who do not have MS can see the capes.
Hmm. 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 And I really wish everyone that have multiple sclerosis would understand that when they do open up and be a little more vulnerable, it helps them. It really helps them at the end. That's what I found out. Just I found out with my podcast. My podcast is therapy for me
Yes,
first, because
absolutely.
yeah, it really is. I found that out. I didn't know that before I started the podcast, though. That's not why I started it. But I found that out after I did start it. That it's therapy for me.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very
Well,
good.
everyone wants to be seen, right?
Yeah.
And everyone wants to be heard.
Yep.
And when you feel valued, that's where things, that's how you can sit there
Yep.
and find this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
I made the comment about the cape earlier.
Okay.
Those with MS, they don't want to be considered heroes just for waking up, right? But there's a fight that's going on inside your body, and it's the fact that you're finding the resilience to go on and continue. And that's where those of us without MS see that's where the cape belongs.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. One thing that I have to get better with my multiple sclerosis journey is my eating habits, and that right there is as I heard, is the very first thing that really makes the hugest difference through this journey is what you intake. So I really have to change that. I don't eat the bad foods, but I feel I can get better. I know I can get better.
Yeah, well, I think that's with all of us. The one thing I've heard from some folks with MS is, MS has given me the opportunity to make changes in my life. It's sort of forced me to make those changes in life that I
Force
needed
you.
to make.
I'm glad you said that word, force you.
Right. So it wasn't as if they would wish MS on anyone, but at the
Hmm.
same time, they say this was a blessing in disguise.
Yep, I called it that too. I called it that too. It was a blessing in disguise. And for that very reason, what you just said, it forces you to change things and do things. But at the end of the day, it's for your own good. It's for your own good at the end of the day. That's the beautiful part.
Well, and it's not just the eating, right? It's realizing everything. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday with Delaney. We were sitting there. I had talked to her because she had just done a MS event that she was a speaker at. She said it's very humbling because you start to realize I can't keep up with my friends. And she continued to try to keep that pace. And she said, you need to sit there and realize that, this is a disease and sometimes it's going to force you to sit on the sidelines and that's okay.
It's okay because it almost turns you into a new you, if you could
It
say.
does.
It turns you can't do that anymore that you used to do. You can't. I know I can't do a whole lot of things that I used to be able to do just blindfolded, but I can't do it anymore. Because this right now is the new me, and
Right.
I'm okay with the new me. I'm okay with it. So
But the beauty is you get to reinvent who you are.
yep, yep. That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. I'm not stuck on the side. Like I told you before, I'm on the other side of MS also. I'm not on the side where it's like woe is me and everyone feels sorry for me and boo hoo and give me a pity party. And no, I'm not on that side of MS. I'm on the strong side. I'm on the what am I going to do tomorrow side. I'm on a how can I better this society? I'm looking up, so
True
I'm
definition of an MS warrior right there.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Hey, so Casey, you said you're going to have me on your podcast also. When can we set that up?
We will set that up. After we hang up off of this call, I'll give you a call back and we'll schedule some time either later this week or next week, and then we'll have you on in the next week or two.
Okay, okay, okay. That sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. All right, well, we're going to wrap this podcast up. It's yeah, about that time. I can edit this all out, but before we leave, can you give everyone some information where they can reach out to you regarding this podcast?
Absolutely. So the best place to go, I mean, you can find us on any podcast platform. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, but you can also find us on our website, which is www. It's the HTTPS. Got to make sure you get that S in there. www. Uh,
Right.
www.bike-ms.com. That's the homepage. There's a tab in there that you can find that's podcasts, and so you can find all the podcasts there. The other tabs, we've got, the homepage talks about all the rides that we're doing because we're doing 6 Bike MS rides this year across the U.S. We've got one coming up in a couple weeks in Kentucky and then in Colorado. So we are fundraising. I know everyone
Yes,
has a
yes, yes.
handout, but
I love
if
it.
you're
I
on that
love it.
page and you can afford to donate, we would love it. We have a goal of
Yeah.
$25,000 to try to help make a difference for those that are affected by MS.
Yes. Yes. Good. I love it. I love it, Casey. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for being on my podcast. I really appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. So thank you very much for sharing that valuable information. And I hope someone will reach out to you to get some more information from you. Because I saw your website. We're going to hook back up. I can tell. I see it. I can tell. We're going to do a lot of this. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
And thank you for inviting me here. And, I love joining your group. And to all those with MS, know that we're here for you.
Yes, yes. Together, we're going to cure this. Yes,
Yes. And that's, you look at the National MS Society. I am on the board of trustees, and their mission statement is that we will cure MS in our lifetime. That's a pretty bold statement.
can you say that statement one more time for me, please?
Yes. Together we will solve MS in our lifetime.
Okay, thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Together we are stronger. Let me give you one of these. Together we are stronger. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Casey. Thank you very much. Okay.